All right, Witsit, you ready?
No, I asked a
You
question. I asked a question. I asked a question.
you you claimed you claimed that I told Harrison not to debate you. Prove it.
I heard you reached out to them. Did you reach out to them?
You claimed that I told
Gee,
Harrison not to debate you. Don't deflect. You made the claim that I told Harrison not to debate you. Prove it.
okay, so from my understanding, what I heard was
No,
that
no,
you
no,
reached.
no, not from your understanding. You made
I'll
a
just
very
mute you,
specific
dude.
claim.
Shut
A
up, dude.
claim of specificity came out of your face hole. Prove it.
Okay, so obviously you did reach out to him. That's why you won't answer it. I don't know exactly what was said. I
Prove
wasn't
it.
there. I'm trying
Prove it.
to explain. So, what I heard was that you discouraged them from debating me or from platforming me because I'm a liar or a grifter or something like that. But one thing's for sure, you reached out to Harrison and or InfoWars and tried to have a conversation with them before they had me on. Is that true or untrue?
I see you changed your story from your claim
Can
that
you
I
answer
told
the
them
question?
not to. Now you're changing your story. Oh, you weren't there. You're couching your words in this. Oh, dear, you got caught lying, Witsit.
I'm not
Thank you for
lying.
that.
That's what I heard. Are you saying you didn't tell them not to platform me? Set the record straight with you. Did you tell them not to platform me, yes or no? Because I heard you on your own stream. People sent
I
me clips of you saying that they shouldn't platform known liars and grifters.
hey Witsit.
Oh,
I didn't tell them. I didn't tell them not to debate you. I didn't tell them not to platform you. You lied, caught you.
did you
What
say
did
that
you
on
tell
your
them?
stream? Wait, time out, McToon. Did you say on your stream that they shouldn't be platforming known liars and grifters? Yes. Okay. So what did you tell them? Because I heard you told
But
them
I
that.
I didn't say I didn't say yes, Austin. Why are you putting words in my mouth?
No, I saw the
Thank you.
video of you
Why,
saying it. I don't need you
why
to
are,
say yes.
oh, well, put it up. Let's see it.
Okay. Okay. Now
Put it
put
up.
on the record, you're claiming you didn't say that on your stream, yes or no?
I don't know what I said on my stream.
Oh, okay. Now
Your
here's the
claim,
question.
not my claim.
Now here's the
Your
question, McToon.
claim,
McToon,
not my
I
claim,
look.
Austin.
If you didn't tell them not to, if you didn't personally reach out and tell him not to debate me, then I will stop saying it. That was my understanding. My understanding was even that Jaron came and talked to you about it, and you admitted that you reached out to them. My understanding was that you discouraged them from platforming me because I'm a known
All
liar
right,
or
no,
something like that.
awesome.
So if you would like to
You
set the
will,
record straight,
you
McToon, if
will
you would
no
like to set the
longer be
record
making
straight,
that claim, then? You'll no
well,
longer be making that claim, right?
once you set the record
Just want,
straight,
I'll
once you
make
set
it
the record.
clear. I never told Harrison not to debate you.
Okay, what did you tell him?
I told him to not be unprepared.
Okay, so you did preemptively reach out. So do you say you
Yeah,
tell him that he
but
shouldn't debate me unprepared? You told him that
I,
he shouldn't debate me unprepared?
Austin, Austin, I caught you lying. You
I didn't
admitted you're
lie.
lying. Yeah,
Dude, do you know
you
what?
made a very
Can
specific
you
claim.
define
You
lying?
made you made a very specific claim. You claimed that I said not to debate you. That's a lie.
Can you define lying?
Because when I asked you to prove it, then suddenly, oh, it's not that. It was something else. You started couching your words. You started changing the story. You started moving goalposts. Got it. Got it. You had
No,
to. You got caught
that's
lying.
not no. What happened was you were vocalizing that you didn't say that, and so that's the first time I've even heard you try to defend that you didn't say it. So then I said, okay,
So
that
you have
I
you
was
you said
stop
these things with
interrupting.
no
This is
evidence
what you
then?
have to do. This is why I don't debate you, right? Because you have to
Yeah,
censor
because I
the other
expose you
person.
every time. Witsit, you
No,
lied. I
no.
caught you lying. You're on tape now lying. We got
Okay,
it.
McToon, if you were so correct and I'm such a liar, you wouldn't have to censor me. So when you were saying something about how you didn't say that, I was just immediately explaining where I heard it and why I thought it was true. Lying is deceiving with or it was with the intention to deceive, right? I didn't intentionally lie about you saying that when I knew you didn't say that. I wasn't lying. So if you're saying you
Oh,
didn't
but
say that, I
but you
just now
knew I
said,
said it. Listen,
yeah,
so you knew I said it. That's why you
I didn't
said it
even,
because you knew I said it.
I was under the understanding that you said that. Yes, my
Oh,
understanding was
you
that you even
didn't know
admitted to
that I
saying
said
that to
it.
Jaron. I
Got
just
it. You
said that.
didn't know that I said it. Oh, so you
No,
made a claim that you didn't know to be true.
I thought
Gotcha.
it was true.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you'll never say that again, then, Witsit.
Yeah, but so you reached out to Harrison and you told him that he shouldn't debate me if he's unprepared.
I said, yeah, be prepared.
Wait, what exactly did you say?
Um,
So, so you're playing a
well,
game where you basically did imply to him that he shouldn't have me on if he's not prepared to do
no,
so. Okay, then
no.
what'd you say? What'd you say exactly?
Hold on, hold on. I'm getting it.
Okay. Don't you find it kind of weird that you like obsessively follow whatever appearance I'm going to have and try to preemptively run
Oh,
cover?
dude,
And
it's a fun hobby. It's a
That's
fun
what
hobby to
fans do,
destroy you
bro. He's your
every
biggest
step you
fan. It's
take.
clear.
dude, wait. You're saying you follow every step I take as a hobby? You don't see that that's kind of weird?
That's gay.
Destroying you. Yeah.
Okay,
Gay.
but do you see that my platform is bigger than it's ever been?
That's fine.
So
Thank
it
you for
doesn't
that,
seem like
Nicktoon.
you're being very successful.
Here I
Thank
said,
you,
don't
Nicktoon, for
go
all that.
unprepared. Don't
Yeah,
go
your
unprepared.
destruction is failing.
Okay.
How many pictures of Witsit
Wait,
do you
let
have
him
on your
read the
computer?
message. Let him read the message.
All right. You guys don't want to hear it? Or you shut up, all right?
No.
Don't go unprepared.
Post it.
There are many things that people often get wrong when debating against flat earthers. They have been trained and jump on them quickly. They also have many lies that people are unprepared to handle.
No, keep reading.
There you go.
Keep
Then keep
reading.
reading, bro. Why'd you cut it short?
Take the screenshots. You're going to omit parts. So why,
It
do
wasn't
you
the
not
end of a
think
sentence.
that there's moral accountability for being for constantly being dishonest?
Moral
There's,
accountability for you lying constantly? I don't know.
I think there's moral accountability for anyone lying, right? Like if you
Yeah, like you.
intentionally, I
Yeah,
don't
like you.
intentionally lie. That's not true,
Yeah,
which is redundant
I
because
caught you
lying
lying.
isn't.
I caught you lying many times with it. I have a page on
No,
my website dedicated to your intentional lies.
no, but see, all your stories about me lying aren't true. But here's the next thing I want
Oh,
to. Are you going to read the rest of the message or not?
what?
Yes or no?
Here, post it. Hold on.
All right. Don't cut off the screenshot like you did when you claimed that I said I didn't work and all this stuff. This weirdo. Talk about lie. Like I could literally sue
There
you.
you go. There. Well,
Nicktoon,
go
did
ahead.
you know
Sue
I
me
could
right now.
literally sue you?
Sue me. Sue me.
I
Quit
talked.
bluffing. Sue me right now.
An attorney
Stop
reached
bluffing.
out
No,
to
no.
me.
Don't
An attorney
posture.
reached
Don't
out to me and
posture.
told me that I could definitely sue
Got
you.
it. Don't posture. Don't say I could. Do
What?
it right now. Call back that attorney right now and say file the suit immediately. Tell him that.
Do it.
Do it.
Do
Oh
it.
Do it.
wait. So okay.
Do
Because
it.
he said he was so
No, I don't
disgusted
want to
by
hear
it.
no more posturing. No more
Wait a.
posturing. Just file it.
No,
Just
I'm going to give
file
an
it. Just
example.
tell him
One of the
that.
things he said when you took a screenshot of me and you intentionally chopped it up and cut it out of context and then ran around claiming that I didn't work or claiming that I don't actually think the earth's flat and I'm intentionally lying to grift or that I claim that it's donation for charitable donation so that I don't have to pay taxes. These are all lies.
Yeah.
These are all
File
slander.
that suit. Stop pastoring. Just
Wait,
file that suit.
do you stamp all those claims?
File that suit, Austin.
Okay. I know you. The only reason I said no is because I said this guy would love that because it would give him some type of attention, and he's like obsessed with trying to get my attention all the time. Now, McTune, this is what I want to know from you though. When you started virtue signaling about right, and you were like, "What do you mean by the good ADL?" Did you know the ADL was started to actually run a campaign to try to vindicate Leah Frank, who was found guilty for raping and murdering a 13-year-old girl?
Completely beside the point. The foundation of it is not what I was talking about. I'm not a big fan of the ADL. I was just pointing out that you were calling the organization that's against anti-Semitism as the not good version of the ADL. That was my point.
Well, they're not good. You just said you're not a fan of it, but then you turned around in the same breath and virtue signaled about me saying they're not good. Yeah, I'm not a fan of them. They're not good. That's why I'm not a fan of them. Because under the cover or guise of combating anti Semitism, they censor anyone and everyone that critiques any person that's quote unquote Jewish or anything that Israel does, right? And it was literally founded to smear anyone that tried to hold Leo Frank accountable or to try to make sure that that innocent little girl's name wasn't like lost in the wind and that she was kept in memory. They smear them and try to ruin their life as anti-Semitic, you know, people that libel Jews or whatever. So like, yeah, that's right. I don't like them. But my question is, why is it that you virtue signal about stuff like that and try to like imply that
Maybe
some,
maybe
what's
you
that?
should just go listen again to what I said about it.
I did. You acted
It'd be a good idea.
really offended and emotional. Like, what do you mean by that? Then someone sent a chat about how I was anti-Semitic, and that's what I was actually saying. And you're like, yeah,
Yeah,
he is. Yeah, he
true.
is.
Yeah,
Okay. Can you define anti-Semitism?
yeah.
Define it.
I think you embody it pretty well. That's it. But
So, but if you're going to call me anti-Semitic,
yeah,
shouldn't you be able to define it?
yeah,
Can you define it?
yeah. No, I can't. No, probably not.
So you're
No.
calling me anti-Semitic, but you can't even define it. Okay.
Hmm.
So anyway, man, and so
So
this is the
about
reason
that,
that people have
now
problems with you.
here's the thing. You yesterday, this was a good one. Yesterday you were talking about on Twitter, and then you deleted everything. It was pretty good. The lawyer that you were talking to, and so I wanted to. I know lawyers can be expensive, the attorney, and so I
Not
don't
mine.
know if you heard about this. I'd like to offer to pay for up to 5 hours of your attorney's time prior to your tweets yesterday. If you could
Okay.
just let
Okay, wait,
your
you think I'm
attorney
lying about
know,
having an attorney?
let your attorney know. Yeah. So here, I'll put in the chat here.
Okay.
Can you pay for my dentist?
Wait, I just want to make sure you're claiming I
You don't
lied
have any
about this.
money. Dude, you don't have any money. You're a YouTuber relying on
So
stalking people for clicks.
Wait,
You
I
don't
just
have
want to
any
understand.
money.
Are you trying to imply I lied about talking to an attorney?
I'm just offering to pay for up to 5 hours
You don't
Okay.
have any money though.
your lawyer's
That's
time.
absurd.
Okay, I'll tell him. I'll tell him.
Hold
I'm
on,
sure
hold
that
on.
out of principle he will refuse to work with you, but I'm sure he'll publicly say who he is anyway. He's a
Here.
well-known, very successful attorney up actually around your area, ironically. He's a constitutional attorney. He reached out to me whenever I was going through my situation with Mount Rushmore. He represents quite a few very big figures in the online content creator sphere. So
Here we go.
I talked to him on the
Here's
phone
your
for
tweet.
an hour.
Here's your tweet yesterday. So said, I'm already looking over the contract with my attorney
That's correct. Yeah.
and my
You think I lied about that?
exactly what you posted that. Not sure because you deleted it bravely.
I
But anyway,
deleted it because you guys were spamming my
him that you
replies, and I
spent long for the
wait.
contract or for the final experiment. So
Wait, I just want to point. This is a perfect point
tell me
of
my
why you're so
email and
lame.
you can mail me a bill
You
for
just
the
tried
time.
to. You're running a story to your followers that I don't
And
actually have an
whatever.
attorney, and that you're gonna offer to pay for him because he doesn't actually exist. Now think about this reality for a second. I do have an attorney. Okay, I've actually eaten at his house with his family dinner with my wife. He's invited me to fly out to talk to people around his community in the coming months. He's helped me with my previous cases. I talked to him on the phone multiple times. So about this contract, I sent him the contract. Yeah, and one of the things was I wasn't even supposed to really talk about how I was looking over it with an attorney. I think from tactical perspective. So it's like that was one of the reasons that I'm like, oh, I messed up. I shouldn't have said that yet. So it is what it is. It's out now. I already said it. And I also deleted it because I'm like, dude, this is the main thing I tried to avoid on X is all these trivial debates and arguments with anti-flat earth trolls. Because then people go to my page, they go to replies, and they just see all this toxic nonsense. So I deleted all of my replies. But I just want to point out, think about that. Now, what I just said is all just true. So think about how lame you are for running this narrative that I lied about having an attorney and then offering to pay money. So we're gonna hold you to it. You're gonna pay my attorney for 5 hours of his hourly rate. Okay? Because this is the problem with people like you. You constantly libel and slander and lie about me, and it's disgusting. And then you want to play a victim card when I decide to stop engaging with you and block you. No, it's because
All
I
right.
gave you
All right.
opportunity for years to stop being a child and constantly slandering me, but you just can't help yourself with you.
Yeah,
So
your destruction is failing.
I don't know, I think I was booted from the server or something, but I missed a bunch, but
Well,
I
let me
get the
ask you one
gist of
simple
it. So
question, Maxine. Let me ask one simple question. If you said it's your hobby to watch every step and to destroy me,
to destroy every
how,
step, yeah.
yeah. How do you feel about the fact that my channel is bigger than ever and I'm networking with bigger content creators than ever?
Oh, I'm doing the same thing.
So,
Awesome.
no, you didn't answer my question. If your goal was to destroy, see, my goal is not to destroy you. I forget that you exist. What I'm asking
Austin,
you,
I'm not measuring my destruction of you by your subscriber count.
well, no,
I'm
you
measuring
actually
my
said one time,
destruction.
like 4 years ago, you said that your goal is to run me off the internet and that you swear up and down that you're going to make me delete my channel and that you're
I
going
said
to,
that?
Yeah,
I'm
you
gonna
said that
need to cite. I'm
you said
gonna
you're gonna
need you to prove
completely
that
you said you're
claim.
gonna completely destroy me and make
I'm gonna
me.
need you to prove that claim.
Okay, yeah, exactly. You did that, and then you also said the
No, I
same thing.
didn't. No, I
FTFE.
didn't.
Yes, you did. You
I
said
didn't
that.
say that. No, I didn't. You're gonna have to support the claim. You're making the claim. I didn't make the claim. You're
Okay,
gonna have to support the claim.
okay. This is a perfect example of why I don't engage with you because if
Okay,
I
okay,
now I'm supposed to
okay.
go back
I'm
and
waiting
find
for
your
you to
claims.
support your.
Dude,
Yes, you
Mattoon, this is
100%
like when
have to
you,
support your
Mattoon, this
claim.
is like when you were moderating me and you
This is
swore up and
you.
down online. Wait,
This
wait,
is
I'm
you,
gonna, no,
Austin. This is you, Austin.
you're gonna address all these lies. So you remember when
Claim.
you remember when you moderated a
You're the
debate with
one that
me?
says if you have a claim of specificity, you have the burden of proof of specificity. So if you're going to
Yes,
make that
that's
claim
right.
about
Yeah.
me, you have the burden of proof. So
Okay, sure. Yeah.
bring
So
it
do
up.
you,
Let's see
okay,
it.
okay. And this is the only problem that I'm saying is like you
No,
always
stop
just do
talking
not.
while you're bringing it up.
No,
Focus
I
on
don't have to
bringing up
do
the
anything
citation.
now.
All right, well,
Okay,
hold on,
Okay,
you
so you
guys.
can't.
You got
Got it. You can't
hold on,
support
hold
yourself.
on. Yeah,
Got it.
hold on, dude. You're doing a lot of interrupting, and there's a lot of like personal attacks. If there's some like integration that can come out of this or better understanding what's going on, but it's not really a live stream just to have a lot of interpersonal fighting. So I don't know if there's some way we can move forward in a way that's more productive.
Can I ask McToon a question? Can you steel man the reason you're anti-flat earther? Is it like you think that flat earth ideology kind of slows down the space travel, our space traveling civilization?
No, I don't think it's a threat to that at all. You know,
Okay.
I mean,
the
What makes you
massive
pick, man?
successes of us of like SpaceX in their rocket launches and progression on their technology is not at all impacted by
Can you
flat
steel man
earthers
it though?
saying
Is his question.
Steelman what? Steelman
Why
my
you stalk flat earthers all the time?
that your question
He said
doesn't
it.
make
He said
sense.
it
I can
differently.
give you
Can you remember what he
an
said?
answer to a question if you want to ask a
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
Can you
Okay,
remember
that's what he's
what
What
asking.
he
makes
asked you?
what makes you
Ask
pick
Steelman,
again.
it?
no. If your
Why
question
are
is
you
why do I do it, I'm happy to answer why I do it. If your question is can you steelman why I do it, that doesn't make sense.
It
I'll
actually
be
does.
happy to answer
You can
why do I
still
do
man
it.
a
man? Why
position
you
that you
do it?
I don't
believe
What's the
care.
in.
best
I don't care.
reason?
I
What's
don't
the
care.
best reason?
I'll just answer the question.
So you were wrong.
Why do I do it? Why do I do it? I do it because it's entertaining, it's fun, but the big reason is that it is a threat to intelligence and a threat to morality and a threat to
Morality.
society. Yeah.
It's
You
a threat
just
to
How does flat
morality.
Earth affect
Yeah.
morality?
Yeah, because flat Earth is lies.
Yeah, your
But that's not.
obsession is
What? How
definitely a
does it
threat
affect
to all things
morality?
good.
Well, can I
What?
ask you a question? Do you think if your opinion is that it's a threat to morality because it's a lie, do the ends justify the means if in order to combat what you consider a lie being flat earth, is it okay to incessantly lie and slander in order to supposedly combat that lie?
We added in the slander, but no, I don't. And the claims you're making of me are untrue. So
So you agree that it's
I
not the ends don't justify the means and it's not a
don't justify the means. So here's I'll make the same thing that everybody who makes that assertion against me, if they think that I'm lying, show the specific place where you think I did, and then show the supporting
Just
evidence.
now in text about Witsit.
So I
I,
mean,
I
just
actually
now in our
yeah.
conversation,
Yes, that's
he
one of
lied
them.
about.
So that's immoral, right? You're a threat.
Yeah. Witsit is immoral. He lied about
No,
me.
no, no. I'm talking about you lying about him. Just
And I
now.
posted a screenshot in the chat showing that Witsit lied about me.
Well, look,
we'll
I can
do.
give an
No, no,
example. I can give an
we're talking
example,
about
right? We
you
don't have to get
lying,
too
are we?
personal because Geo requested we don't get too personal the whole time. But like back in the day, I was asked to debate a friend of mine's cousin, and I didn't want to do it. He talked me into it, and then I'm like, okay, we'll do it on this Irish Demon channel or whatever. Mattoon swooped in and like convinced him to demand he would only debate me on his channel. So after I gave my word to my friend, I'm like, what the crap? So I'm like, nah, don't do a debate on Mattoon's channel, whatever. That's why Mattoon did it because he wanted to try to somehow trap me back on his channel. So I had a conversation with you, and I said, "Do you agree to moderate fairly, to not interject and debate 2v1, and not unfairly mute me? It's me versus that guy, and I'm not agreeing to answer all of your super chats because they're just going to be a bunch of insults to me. I'm not going to sit there and do that. So tell your audience that I'm not going to take super chats or respond to them." And you said, "Yes, I agree to all of those things." Then when I got there, You jumped into my opener and started debating me. You muted me probably 20 times. You debated for the other guy the entire time, wouldn't even let him speak. And then you didn't tell your audience the super chat stipulation. So you basically took their money thinking I was going to respond to their super chats when I wasn't. And then I called you out for this a few months later, and you did what you're doing right now. Prove it. You're making a claim about me. That's not true. Prove it. I didn't mute you one time. Prove I muted you. Prove I muted you because you thought I wouldn't be able to prove it. I then took the time to go back, find it, and prove that you muted me. Once I did that, that proved that you were constantly muting me, and you even acknowledged it in the stream, then you just pretended it never happened. Once I proved it, you pretended it never happened. So this is your tactic, is like to prove I'm lying, then people go do it, then you just skate past it like it never happened. So would you like to apologize for all of that?
Austin, I think I have acknowledged before that I did you wrong there. And if I hadn't, if you don't recall me saying that before, then I did. It was not right what I did. So I'm sorry
Yeah.
for that.
Big
Okay,
ups, man. Yeah,
All
there
right,
you go. There you go.
progress.
None
Yeah.
of what
Another-
you do is right, mate. None of it.
We can move out of the
You
personal stuff
need
though.
to
It's
get
all
on
good.
with your own life, really.
Well, I mean, if you guys need to talk personal stuff, it's fine. But it was getting like the interruptions. I mean, if you guys, I'm just saying if there's some way to have it productive though. If it's just like personal attack flinging, but I mean, obviously there's been stuff that has happened, in history. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll ask one question about what happened in the chat. This is more about flat Earth, kind of, right? But it's still a major problem in this conversation, right? So what with the whole dynamic equivalence thing, right? Like you know what you're doing in that conversation. So when I make the point, well, dude, even within your own paradigm, if you wanted to believe in Newtonian mechanics or Newtonian gravity, there's a dynamic equivalence with the geocentric model. And then people say that's not true. Nuh-uh, prove it. So then I drop sources like the Neo-Tychonian Newtonian Machian analysis by Luca Popov, or his subsequent legislation, like a geocentric universes mechanics or whatever it's called. And then I drop relational mechanics by Andrea Zeiss, who breaks down all the math and physics of a dynamic equivalence, etc. And then you respond with, this disproves your flat earth claim.
Yes.
Number one law of FLIRF is all of their citations disprove them. And of course, that source doesn't disprove my claim at all, because my claim is that within the paradigm of Newtonian dynamics, there is a dynamic equivalence. So for you to then say, oh, but this talks about a sphere, this talks about the supposed distances and sizes to the planets, this refutes your claim, that is dishonest. It doesn't refute my claim. It directly supports my claim. It directly supports the reason I was asked to provide sources. So can you admit that that doesn't refute my claim to invoke those sources, and please explain why it is that you continue to do that?
It's incompatible with flat Earth, Austin. And so you've been using for years, you've been using geocentric things to try and somehow bolster flat Earth, but that doesn't make sense because it doesn't work to flat Earth. There's no mapping to flat Earth. Even if we do accept the relational dynamics and the Popov things as correct, which I don't, but I'll accept them for the conversation to move on, that it doesn't support flat Earth. It's you using the globe, geocentric globe, as some sort of backing for your flat Earth position, and it doesn't make sense. And the people that are the flat Earthers should see that and be aware that you're ditching flat Earth.
See, this is what I'm saying.
But it's
Right?
fine. I don't
This is-
mind if
He's
you do
doubling
that.
down.
and that's what I'm saying. I knew you'd have to double down because he said it for years, and he won't admit this right now. But it's just a point to elucidate the problem here. It's like I don't believe in those models. I've made it very clear. People say, "Well, we'll show a dynamic equivalence or a dynamic model with a flat Earth." I said, "Well, I don't know the distances or sizes or medium that any of those quote unquote planets are in, so it would be ignorant and futile for me to just randomly make up sizes and distances and mediums and stuff to make a model." And so that's the main thing holding it back. I make it very clear that obviously you actually could do that. You could use the same core principles of a dynamic equivalence, and you can choose electromagnetism like Andreas Zeiss uses a Lorentz magnetic force. You could use many things, and you could explain the motions of the bodies, but you would have to invoke sizes, distances, mediums, etc. And I'm not going to do that. And I only
But
invoke.
Austin,
Wait up. I only invoke those papers to combat the false claim that helio or relativity proves heliocentrism, or that it's exclusive, or that Newton's exclusive to that. It isn't. There's a dynamic equivalence. That's what the papers are supported to to support, has nothing to do with supporting or proving flat Earth. You know that. So why do you keep on doing that other than just trying to deflect away from the argument and prevent people from knowing that, trying to gatekeep so that people don't know that within their own paradigm there is in fact a viable geocentric equivalence? Can you please just admit that's why you're doing it?
Wow, long monologue there. So the claim, your claim, is that Earth is flat, and so when people say, well, you know, where's evidence for it? You bring up these things that aren't for flat Earth, which doesn't support flat Earth. It's telling that when asked for information, for evidence, for measurements, for predictions for flat Earth, you don't bring it up. Instead, you bring up globe geocentrism.
So that isn't true, right? So this is, of course, by definition, a lie because you are intentionally being deceptive. So no one's ever asked me for measurements or evidence or a model of flat Earth, and then I invoke the Luka Popov model or the
Oh,
Andres. That
you
is
did that in
quite
chat just
literally
now.
that is quite literally never happened. What actually happens is when I say, well, even in your own paradigm, there's a dynamic equivalence and a kinematic equivalence. People dispute that. They say, no, it's not. That's not true. Prove it. So I say, okay, then I provide literal sources from within their paradigm, believing the size of the sun, the size of the planet, the size of the earth, invoking Einsteinian gravity, invoking Newtonian gravity, and showing all the math and physics of a dynamic equivalence. Because I'm literally just combating the challenge to the factual statement that there's a dynamic equivalence. Someone's never said
But
provide
why did
measurements
you
and
bring
evidence of
up?
a flat. No one's
Why
ever said
even bring up
last
dynamic
statement.
equivalence?
Last statement. No one's ever
Yeah,
said
that's monologue. Shorten them a bit.
provide measurements and evidence for a flat Earth, and then I provided them the spherical Earth Luka Popov model. That's never ever happened, and you know that's never happened.
But why even bring them up if your claim is not them? Why not bring up evidence for flat Earth? It's a
Because they're
deflection from flat Earth, Austin. Because
no, it's not.
you can't do anything. You have nothing for flat Earth. So you bring up these non-flat Earth things.
No, that isn't true. It's because there are two different conversations, and whether or not there's a geocentric model or not is not exclusive to the shape of the Earth, right? Like that's a different conversation. Is the location of the Earth in the universe a central position? Is the Earth stationary, or is it moving in this modern cosmology model? That's a conversation of itself. It's not exclusive to the shape of the Earth. The other conversation is the shape of the Earth. Is it planar in nature? Is it spherical in nature, etc.? These are two separate conversations. So we have to split them up. And when I talk about, every time I start talking about the motion part of it, people start invoking things as alleged evidence or proof that actually isn't evidence or proof. So I have to teach them their own belief, which is that within their own belief, they have to concede the geocentric model is viable. It's just to acknowledge that there isn't the proof of heliocentrism that they think that there is, to combat their positive claim, to then get back to the default position of stationary, and then we move to the shape. And you know that's why I do it.
But Austin, even if you were to conclude that all of this geocentric globe stuff somehow proved or established or had evidence for the geocentric globe being stationary, it doesn't at all move you forward in stationary flat Earth because it all contradicts stationary flat Earth still.
No, but see, that's
You
again
don't see that.
no, that's
You
another
really don't see
misrepresentation.
that? That's crazy.
It's another misrepresentation, and you don't see. Maybe you don't actually understand my position. I don't know, but I did not invoke this model as proof that the Earth is stationary. That is not true. It's a positive claim that the Earth is moving, that it's tilted, wobbling, spinning, revolving, flying through the galaxy, etc. That's a positive claim. I'm pointing out that isn't true. I said, do you have any proof that that's true? So what do people do? They start invoking things like parallax or aberration or ring laser gyros or whatever. They start invoking these things. So then I have to explain to them that even within their own paradigm, those things aren't actually exclusive to the Earth moving. Like retrograde's not exclusive to an Earth moving. You can have retrograde with a stationary Earth. So I have to combat, because they have the burden of proof. The default position based on experience is that the Earth is stationary. So
No, the
they're
default position is that the Earth is moving, Austin.
But
it's
that,
not
but
Say the same thing.
it's showing
The
that the
default position is
heliocentric,
the Earth is moving.
There's
it's
two
showing that the
default
heliocentric
positions.
position.
You're just saying it.
There's two
Well, hold on.
default
It shows
positions.
that the heliocentric position is not exclusive.
yeah, and the default position is that the Earth is stationary, right? Like
But
that's
the
just
default position is that the Earth is moving.
How?
No, it's not. You have to make a lot of assumptions for that, Nick.
I'm
I can
afraid
say
it's
that
both at this
just like
point.
you can. I can say that just like you can, Austin.
No, you
With
can't.
zero
The
evidence.
difference
I
is
can
mine's
say you have
actually
zero
true.
evidence for it. There's no such thing as a default position in science, and there's no such thing as a default position in a debate. So neither of those actually exist. There's no such thing as a default position.
Okay, that's incorrect,
If you
right?
want to
So,
talk about a default position in a debate, you could say the most accepted position is the default. I don't think that's a necessary spot, so I won't require that you have that position. But
What about
the default
Occam's
position
razor?
is not just what you say it is. You don't get to
What
just declare default position.
yeah,
What
so
about
exactly.
Occam's
Occam's
razor?
razor is that which requires the least amount of assumptions is most likely to be true. You combine that with just the default experiential input, which is that we
All of
don't
our
experience
senses.
the Earth.
I
Exactly.
can
And
make the
then
exact
wait
same
up, wait up.
argument, Austin.
No, you
Same
can't.
argument. I can
No,
make
you
the same argument, 100%.
What?
Time out. The official
That's
stillman of the claim that the Earth is moving is that it's an illusion that we're not moving because of scale and relativity. Literally, the base claim of heliocentrism is that sure, it will appear to be stationary, but it's actually not. And even more than that, we actually have interferometry that show that you can't detect the orbit, which was exactly what is
We
expected.
have
The Earth's not moving.
interferometry that says that you can't detect ether.
Time out. So then you have an excuse
Time
as
out.
to why you
Time
have
out.
an excuse
Time
as
out,
to
Austin.
why you have
Time
an
out, Austin.
excuse.
You have an excuse. You have an excuse.
You have an
Austin, it's the
explanation.
same.
You have an explanation.
Same thing.
You have a proposed explanation as to why we can't detect the motion of the Earth with interferometry, but that doesn't mean it's the default position. It means
But
that
yeah,
if we didn't
your
have
position
your
isn't a
excuse,
default position either. Yeah,
Dude,
Yeah,
please, hold on.
it's
Please
just a
stop
default position
interrupting.
either.
Could you please stop interrupting? Could you just wait till he's finished?
Yeah,
And he'll,
Austin, please stop interrupting.
well, you can, no, you're interrupting him. You can have the time to respond, but we can't hear anything if you're both
cool.
talking. Just
Okay.
let him finish and then you can say your point.
Super.
yeah.
That's
So
his tactic.
the default position based on Occam's razor and experiential value and senses and even interferometry is that the Earth's not moving. The heliocentric model has to say, well, the reason why that you can't detect the orbit is because of this, and this. Okay, so that means that both prior to you introducing that explanation or what I call excuses, then the evidence on its face as the default shows that it's not moving. You then have to come along afterwards and explain why it may appear to be stationary, but it's actually not.
Right. So everything you said, I can say the same thing for the globe. Interferometry measures motion, and your Occam's razor denying answer has a whole bunch of assumptions in it.
No, I don't deny that there is motion. There's a sidereal
You don't
rotation.
deny that the Earth is moving?
No,
How can you
no,
deny that
I
the Earth
don't.
is moving?
No, but there's a sidereal rotation that we're measuring.
Yeah, that's the Earth. That's the Earth moving. Is the sidereal rotation.
That's what you're claiming.
Occam's razor gets that one.
No, the reason that Occam's razor doesn't get that one is because we already made interferometry measurements of, first of all, Occam's razor is that which requires least amount of assumptions. So when we go outside and it's completely still, and then the wind blows one way, then stops again, is like, oh, well, the wind's moving, the Earth's not moving. That's the actual default.
Okay,
When
what's your
when we get into-
assumption when you say, hold on, what's your assumption when you say that interferometry already measured no motion? What's your assumption for that?
First of all, let's not skip past the
Don't
Occam's.
answer it.
Well,
Deflect.
I will happily answer
Deflect.
that.
You won't answer it.
It is Michelson-Morley, and
Yeah,
it was
what's the
expected
assumption?
to detect motion, which is why the entire model had to be revised.
What's the assumption?
What the assumption
What's
is
the
that we can
assumption?
the assumption is that we can detect motion with interferometry.
Oh, no, it's not.
Yes, that
More
is
than
the
that.
assumption.
What's the specific assumption? It's in the first page of the paper.
That if the Earth was moving, we'd be able to detect it with interferometry.
With what? What's the assumption though?
Interferometry.
No.
I know you want to say ether.
Yes, that's the right answer, Austin.
No, it's not, because the ability to detect motion with interferometry is not dependent upon ether, or you wouldn't even be able to invoke ring laser gyros or Michelson-Gell-Pearson. You don't need ether to detect motion with interferometry.
Yes, you do. That's the assumption, Austin.
So then you can't invoke ring laser gyros or Michelson-Gell-Pearson as a detection of the motion of the rotate.
It's
Wait.
the assumption, Austin.
Wait, do you not see the problem here? This is why you
Oh,
can't
I see the
debate without.
problem.
You see, when you're told not to interrupt, all your arguments crumble, right?
This is your
So-
interruption already of me, by the way.
My point is that when you can't censor the information, all your arguments crumble, right? So we just made a point. You just contradicted yourself. You said that you have to make the base assumption of an ether to then assume or implement interferometry to detect motion, but that would actually refute your own position when you claim that ring laser gyros or Michelson-Gale-Pearson is a detection of the Earth's rotation, because you simultaneously claim there is no ether, which means you are forced to conclude that you can detect motion with interferometry without an ether. So now we're going to go back to Michelson-Morley. We don't need an ether. The fact is, interferometry detects motion, and it doesn't detect that motion, which is why you had to make excuses as to why you can't detect it.
Right here. On the undulating theory, according to Fresnel, first, the ether is supposed to be at rest. That's the assumption. In the interior of a transparent medium, which secondly, it's supposed to move with velocity less than the velocity of the medium in the ratio n squared minus 1 over n squared, where n is the index of refraction. So that is declaring right there. This is the second page of the paper, declaring that the assumption is ether.
Yes, but once again, okay, just answer this question.
Occam's razor.
Do you need ether to use interferometry to detect motion?
No.
Okay.
But the assumption of Michelson-Morley is that there is an ether.
Okay, now let's
You
just
need
take.
so you need ether. I'll clarify that one. You need ether to measure linear motion. You do not need ether for rotational motion.
There you go. So you actually
Interferometry.
had to wait. Time out. You had to update the model and claim the orbit was actually linear motion, which was not the claim up until Michelson-Morley. You actually had to update the model to say,
What?
well, although we're
Why?
going
Why is it
around,
not linear?
although we're going
Why is it not linear?
around
It's
the
on the
sun,
first page.
although we're going around the sun, okay, actually it's linear motion because we're free falling to the geodesic of curved spacetime.
The
So that's my point. You had
quote
to.
here. I'll just quote it. The effect was attributed to a simple composition of the velocity of light with the velocity of the Earth in orbit. It's talking about the linear velocity here.
It doesn't say anything about linear. Okay, it's just trying to detect a small portion of the motion, a small
No, it
portion
wasn't.
of the motion within
No.
the. Wait, where does it say linear? Where does it say the
It
Earth's
doesn't say
orbit?
linear, but it's a reference to James Bradley 1727.
Okay, so
Right.
it doesn't say. It
First
doesn't,
sentence is the discovery of the aberration of light was soon followed by explanation according to the emission theory. That's talking about James Bradley 1927. Second sentence, the effect was attributed to a simple composition of the velocity of light with the velocity of the Earth in its orbit. Read James Bradley. He's measuring
this
the
makes my point.
velocity of the Earth,
This makes my
the
point
linear
stronger, right?
velocity of Earth. No, it doesn't. Doesn't
When was
make
the
your point.
first time it was claimed that Earth's orbit was linear motion? Who first claimed that?
I don't know who first claimed it. It doesn't matter.
Einstein did. So
No.
before Einstein, it
Oh
was
my gosh.
assumed.
James Bradley.
Okay,
James
whatever.
Bradley.
And this is simple. And the point is, the room's not ignorant, right? The default position, even just based on experience, is that the Earth's not moving. When we fly planes, we treat the Earth like it's not moving. When we do everything, we treat the.
Austin, when you play catch across the aisle of an airplane, you treat the airplane as if it's not moving. This is basic Galilean relativity. This is covered in literally the first chapter of any physics book.
You're
High
literally
school
not even
physics.
you're not even rebutting my position at
It
all.
is the first chapter.
Galilean relativity. Can you maybe stop throwing out buzzwords?
But real
It's not
fast,
a
this is the
buzzword. That's
point.
what it's called.
This is a pretty desperate attempt because almost every globe earther that's honest will tell you, well, yeah, of course, it looks like the Earth's stationary. It appears that way. Like, that's why we can't just
But it
always trust our
doesn't.
senses, because
But
the
it
Earth is so big that the rate at which it moves makes it appear as though it's stationary on the local scale, because our senses, specifically our semicircular canals that detect angular rotation in our ears and our vestibular system, isn't sensitive enough to detect that rotational rate of motion. So, yeah, it may appear to be stationary. It may look that way, but just an illusion because the Earth is so big. Okay, that's the official stillman of the globe, a hyper-specific stillman. And what that means is that the default position, based on experience and senses, is that the Earth's not moving, right? So then we have to come along and add additional explanations to explain why it appears to be stationary, but it actually isn't. And that's why if I say, okay, then in conclusion here, If I say, okay, well, then provide positive evidence that support your claim that the Earth is actually orbiting the sun, that position absolutely has the burden of proof, because based on Occam's razor, that which requires the least amount of assumptions, we see the sun move. We don't see or feel the Earth move. So you have to provide evidence to support that. It's very simple. And then whenever I ask for that, they provide things that aren't even exclusive to the Earth moving, which is where we get into the dynamic equivalence, which has nothing to do with flat Earth. Long story short, it's a tactic to dismiss the argument because it refutes all the claims that are supposed proofs of movement. It's just a tactic to deflect over to flat Earth, flat Earth, flat Earth. That's why you do it. Just admit that's why you do it. Admit that stationary is default.
All right, I'm not responding to your monologue. I will respond to whoever didn't understand Galilean relativity. I posted the OpenStax physics, high school physics book, chapter 2.1. The chapter 1 is in intro, so it's not covering the topics really. So 2.1 is the very first topic is relative motion. That's Galilean relativity. That's what that is. I don't know who it was that was asking for it, but there you go.
Okay, so this conversation I think is over. You just
All right,
basically
yeah,
you can't
I
actually
get
rebut
muted.
what I said, so it's okay. It's like all good. But and one more point I'll make is you actually made that point. And this like I know this is like terrible for you because you can't interrupt, but this is when in that video where you were making the claim like, well, no, prove it's stationary. You don't have any measurements of stationariness. I'm like, what's a measurement of stationariness? You measure motion, right? You're like, well, you would set up a test that's supposed to detect motion, and then you wouldn't get a result. You get a negative result, and you would know it's stationary. I said, oh, like Michelson Morley, and then you couldn't answer because that is the truth. And then you said that orbit wasn't a rotation, but it is. In fact, in Einstein's original paper, he called the orbit a rotation, and it was later changed to the word revolution just to create the distinction. So, anyway, long story short, I'm maintaining my position as to not engaging with you typically, but I would appreciate if it can be less toxic. It is what it is, and I think you know that. I will say this one more thing. This is a genuine piece of advice. It may seem backhanded, but it's not. Like whenever someone comes that's new to the subject and they see like say your side constantly have to straw man the actual position and use tactics and twist and manipulate what I'm actually saying, it actually hurts your side. So let's say hypothetically you were right about the earth. You're actually breathing life into my channel. You're breathing life into flat earth because then they come listen to me and I point out what I'm actually saying in context. They're like, wait, why is he lying? So if your goal, as you say, your hobby and your goal is to completely destroy me, the reason it's not working and the reason my channel is bigger than it's ever been is because of that. I would actually encourage you to re-examine if you actually feel as passionate about stopping flat earth as you claim. You're building us up.
Has anyone got a recording of this conversation? Because Witsit got destroyed.
You are
That was funny.
serious?
No,
Well,
he's
Man,
got to be
it's
trolling.
all live, isn't it? It's all live at the end of the day.
Discovering something
yeah, it's all recorded.
that
It's all
doesn't
recorded.
exist.
Hey, McToon, while you're here, can you be intellectually honest and admit that it is understandable for people to think that it's a bit sus that refraction is the go-to answer for the fact that people can see objects way farther than a globe model radius value would or should allow?
All right,
And
well, it's kind of a
simultaneously, it is
different
the
topic.
same, but simultaneously, it is the same explanation for the Solennilian eclipse, aka the impossible eclipse. I just want to see if he's intellectually honest to admit that he can see why some people would think that's suspect. Can I get your thoughts on that?
You're just gonna say you don't understand refraction?
Sounds like the question was too hard for him.
I don't know. He may not be at his mic.
Yeah, he always calls flat earthers, imbeciles, and who approaches a subject like that?
You ready?
You know,
You ready? All right. Yeah, refraction is a known
No,
quantity.
no need to be upset, guys. It's all right. Nobody.
All right, I'll leave then. Bye. Thank you.
No, go ahead, dude. Somebody was, I think, hot micing. If you were going to respond, I mean, we're going to
All
respond
right.
to
I mean, you're going to have to
I mean, if you're going to
aggressively
respond to
stop me from
Witsit,
interrupting.
I mean, you and Witsit, I know I muted him. You and Witsit were going back and forth. So, I mean, there were several things that he put forth. I don't know if you're going to, did you want to respond to any of those?
No, I'm not going to respond to his monologue, right? If you have one thing, ask the one thing and then hand it over, right? 3 minutes of monologuing? No, that's not conversation.
You don't know how to take notes, McToon?
Awesome. Cool dude.
Can you define
Um,
dark matter?
Oh my gosh, Austin. It's a
Can you-
hypothesis.
Okay. Can you prove it?
No, you can't prove a hypothesis.
Can you prove dark
It's a
energy?
hypothesis. It's a hypothesis, Austin. You don't
Can
know
you
how
prove?
science
Can you
works.
prove dark energy?
It's not something proven, Austin. It's a hypothesis. You don't understand the topic.
So if it's a hypothesis, then it's defined. Can you define it?
Austin, you're asking for proof of a hypothesis. It's not proven by definition.
I didn't ask for
Right.
proof
Science
at that.
doesn't.
I asked for a definition.
No,
He's
you asked for
looking for
proof.
the eject button. He can't find it.
Can you define dark energy?
Austin. Oh my gosh.
Can you define dark matter?
These are hypotheses, Austin.
Hypothesis is a cause and effect relationship test. So if you're going to propose a hypothesis, you're
No, it's
proposing
more
a
than
cause
it's
of an
broader than
effect.
that. It's broader than that. QE doesn't understand science here. This isn't the dogma that QE has.
Okay, what's the hypothesis of dark energy?
It's that it's what's causing the expansion of the universe.
But we don't know what it is.
Exactly. That's the reason
Okay.
why it's a hypothesis at this point. And you treat it as if it's something that we cosmologists expect to have an answer for. It's a hypothesis. It's unconfirmed at this point. But there are
Okay, do you believe in it?
many parts. I'm sorry, I was interrupted again, Austin. Why are you interrupting me?
I thought you were done.
Jeez, Austin, I was in the middle of a word. I wasn't done. Gio, what are you
Stop being
doing?
so brag, dude. Don't cry again. Come on. It's okay.
All right. There have been many sub hypotheses of dark energy and dark matter that have been tested and disconfirmed and falsified. So the current explanation, I'm not into dark energy. I don't know the cosmology behind it very strongly. So it doesn't really matter because I am very well versed on the shape of the Earth, and that's what this is really about.
No, you're very adamant about the claim of motion as well, and this is
Yes,
directly pertinent
motion
to.
too.
It's directly pertinent to your claim of motion because it spills over into all of cosmology. So my question is, do you believe in dark energy and dark matter?
No, they're hypotheses, Austin.
But do you believe in it?
No, they're hypotheses. I started my answer with no, and then I clarified they are hypotheses. And then you asked the same question again. Did you not hear it when I answered?
Okay, so you don't believe something referred to as dark matter, dark energy exists?
Third time you asked that same question. Refer to my previous answer.
Okay, fair. So without those two things, your entire model collapses. It's literally
No,
a
they don't.
fundamental. It's a
No, they
fundamental
don't.
requirement for your cosmology that you
Literally,
have dark energy and dark matter. Do you believe in relativity?
literally, you are 100% wrong in all of your assertions there.
I'm going to prove that I'm not, though. Do you believe in relativity?
Relativity is empirically confirmed.
So then, if you believe in relativity, and then we look out at the sky where relativity is supposed to be causing motion, we see that there has to be a lot more matter there because, according to relativity, there's not nearly enough mass to actually cause all the gravity needed in your model, which means if you believe in motion and relativity, then by default, you have to believe in dark matter.
So Austin, there is evidence that there is more matter in the galaxies than is seen. So
So you do believe
yes. So that is the observation that has been the case. So what is the specific cause of that, or the material that is there, is unknown. There are some hypotheses.
We didn't observe that there's more matter. We specifically didn't observe it, which is why it's called dark, because it doesn't interact with the electromagnetic spectrum. It's not actually visible or observable. But when I said that in order to have your belief, you have to believe in dark matter, you said that's not true.
That's
But
not true. Yeah, that's not
but
true.
we've just established it is true because you said you believe in a sphere that is orbiting, and you also believe in relativity, which you need to believe it's a sphere that's orbiting, which means you have to believe in dark matter. If you don't, then you would have to concede that relativity is wrong.
No, not at all. Nice
Yeah.
straw man though. Super.
Can you explain how relativity can be true and simultaneously be off by, for example, 99% of the mass it needs in the coma cluster? Can you explain how how dark matter cannot be true, but relativity can be true?
Yeah, Austin. The hypothesis is that there is matter that we are unable to see. That's the hypothesis of dark matter. There are other proposals than just dark matter. They don't tend to get as much press, and they don't tend to be as good as dark matter. But
Can you
it's
provide an
one of
example?
it's one of many. Yeah, an example is that gravity has a different relationship with distance than just over r squared is one example off the top of my head.
Modified Newtonian dynamics.
Yep.
Okay. Well, modified to Newtonian dynamics is specifically not relativity. It's a proposed replacement of relativity, which would be acknowledging that relativity is wrong. So that strengthens my point, which is if you believe that relativity is true, then you have to believe in dark matter. And the modified Newtonian dynamics is basically
I didn't
saying,
say my position. I said you asked for an example of another hypothesis. I gave you an example of another hypothesis, and then you treated it as if I 100% accepted that hypothesis as the way that it is. I don't adhere to that hypothesis any more than any other particular hypothesis.
Well, but my point is, modified Newtonian dynamics is a proposed replacement for relativity. Basically, it's what happened is relativity needs dark matter. We can't find it. We don't see it. There's actually observations that directly contradict the assumption that there is something called dark matter. So there's an entire realm of physicists or astrophysicists who are now proposing different versions of modified Newtonian dynamics so that they can get rid of the dark matter problem. Right. So when you say that relativity, so when you say relativity's been proven, then why would there be thousands of physicists proposing a theory that replaces and gets rid of it?
What? Wow. When did I say relativity was proven?
You said verified.
I said empirical evidence for it. Yep.
So it could be wrong.
Not absolutely. Everything in science could be wrong. That's the whole point of science.
What percentage are you sure that relativity is true?
I don't know.
Okay. So right now you have a strong conviction in the belief that the Earth is a sphere that's tilted, wobbling, spinning, and orbiting as we fly through space.
What do you think the wobble is? What wobble do you think I claim?
There are multiple wobbles. There are 3 wobbles.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's the Chandler wobble. I forgot. Nutation is one of the wobbles. There's 3 of them.
And the precession of the equinoxes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a fourth. There's a fourth.
I actually remember thinking there was a fourth, and then like people argued about it.
Chandler, nutation, annual, and precession.
Yeah.
There's probably more.
Yeah, and that's just physically impossible to have multiple wobbles, but that's not even
at all.
Point.
It's completely in accordance with rotating objects.
Can you show me a demonstration? Can you show me a demonstration of a spherical object wobbling in 4 different ways?
In 2 is easy.
Yes, 2 is easy. You're right. I don't dispute 2 at all.
Okay, awesome. Oh yeah, so n plus 1 is possible as well. So
no, well, so you don't have any physical demonstration because it's physically impossible. You can take
you're saying it's physically possible. There's your claim of specificity, which you now have the burden of proof of specificity.
Well, this is specifically a negative claim, but I will easily verify that by taking, say, a gyroscope, and you can spin it up, and as it precesses, it can then have notation. It can slowly wobble as it precesses, and you can have multiple precessions at once, 2 specifically. But to try to introduce any additional precessions immediately. Yeah, sorry, I got kicked. You can't actually sustain more than 2 wobbles. But anyway, we can wrap this up. My whole point here, man, was really simple. It's like you have to believe in these things like dark matter and dark energy, and you believe in relativity, which
stop putting those things. Stop
can't be proven.
asserting these incorrect things, Austin.
Sorry, what?
Stop asserting these incorrect things.
Well, I just explained why it's just a fact that if you believe in relativity,
you just explained why it's your belief that I have to have that position. I don't. And
you do. And so we explained dark matter. We'll let the audience decide.
You do. You do. You do.
Well, I explained why already. Right?
You do.
But with the dark energy thing as well, right? Like you agree that for the universe to be expanding in all directions, to be accelerating and expanding, that there has to be some cause of that expansion.
Yeah, it does seem to be the case.
Specifically, there has to be some energy or force that's actually causing it to expand.
To accelerate it, I think it's that it's accelerating in its expansion, right?
It's accelerating, expanding, but I mean either one requires a force, obviously, right?
Well, no. Constant linear velocity does not require a force.
What set it into motion?
Something other than the dark energy.
Okay.
So that's a different topic then.
Well, there would still be a force present, or it would just be
That's
dissipating over time.
Or
So-
it could have applied in the past and doesn't apply anymore. I don't know. And I don't think a lot of people are claiming very strong positions on it.
That doesn't really make sense. If I throw a baseball, like it took the force to throw the baseball, you couldn't go like grab the baseball halfway through its trajectory and say, there's no force here. Like, no, there's force the whole way. Doesn't matter. My point is, so you agree that
All right.
if the universe is
I'll-
accelerating and expanding, you need energy or force, right?
I'll post this link to that physics book again. Right there in that same chapter. This 2.1 there is the one that I linked to. But look at sections 2.3 and 2.4.
Okay. So the answer is yes, of course. If there's an accelerating
for the physics of constant linear motion and constant linear acceleration, because you're conflating them.
Okay, so if there's an accelerating expansion, right, then it requires an energy or force to do that.
If it's accelerating, yes, it does.
Do you agree that with the observations, like the astronomical observations that we have, in order to explain it from a position that assumes the Earth is moving, then the universe has to be accelerating and expanding?
No, I don't think it has to be. I think that there are people that are of the opinion that the universe is not expanding. Some think that it is contracting, though those tend to be less common now. And
What?
none of them are contradictory to Earth moving around the sun or sun moving through the galaxy or whatever other motions that we have.
Okay, contraction makes no sense whatsoever. You would then have to invoke a different causal claim for redshift, but
Yeah, I don't mind disagreeing with contraction, but there are some people that still are of that potential.
Okay, just to make the point to the audience I'm trying to make here, whether it's contraction or expansion, it has to be accelerating, and that requires an energy force or energy, right? And therefore,
And of course, there's
stated
one that's not. Hold on, and there's one that's not requiring of a force. That would be the constant, the non-accelerating version of it, right?
that's what you say, yes. So
yeah.
Okay,
Well, I mean that's
the cosmological
literally
constant
chapter
requires
chapter 2 of this physics book that I posted.
no the Hubble constant. The Hubble constant requires a cosmological constant. That's why it's called that. But anyway, this is the point I'm trying to make here, just for the room, because you combated when I said you have to believe in dark matter and dark energy. You said no, and this is a very typical tactic of people on your side of this conversation. They want to stay away from the universal implications of their belief. Right? They want to stick to just these straw mans on the earth, or they want to stick to the solar system only. But you actually don't have the convenience of doing that, because now that is 2024 and we have all these advancements in science and technology and observations, we now know the actual requirements for the Earth to be a sphere that's moving. And it requires both dark matter and dark energy to be true, because we see that in order to explain why it appears the Earth in the center of the universe, you need something akin to accelerative expansion, which requires energy. In order to explain the discrepancies in the missing mass that relativity would require, you need something like dark matter. So to believe in the current model that you typically mock and ridicule people for not believing in, you have to believe in dark energy and dark matter.
I disagree completely, but thank you for strawmanning me.
Well, I didn't put a claim on you. I want the audience to know that these are just facts. And then the final thing I'm going to say, I'm actually going to fall back here. But so that being the case, and so since you're disputing it without any substantive specificity because you can't just affect, let's just say hypothetically, what I'm saying is true because it is actually true. If you have to have dark matter and dark energy to believe in the current model of the Earth, thus the universe, don't you agree that a model that doesn't require dark matter or dark energy and doesn't have those discrepancies would be significantly more viable?
A model that provides an explanation for all of the things that dark energy and dark matter are hypothesized to answer, that would be something very interesting. Yes.
Yeah, like for example, dark energy is used to explain accelerative expansion, which is used to explain why it appears that the Earth's in the center of the universe, even though it's not. So if the Earth was actually in the center of the universe, you wouldn't have to invoke accelerative expansion, nor would you have to invoke dark energy. So the geocentric model is actually superior and more viable.
Actually, that doesn't make any sense at all, because if there is redshift, and that's why we think that things are moving away from us, then what is the cause of that redshift in the geocentric model?
Okay, so first of all, you've now deflected to, well, then what's the cause of this? But secondly,
No,
you just
it's not
you just
deflection.
you just
You asserted that this model is better, and I'm asking, how is it better?
yeah.
How does it explain the specific thing that you said it
Yeah.
was better at explaining?
Yeah, there's tired light. So over distance, the light attenuates relative to the medium. There's also electromagnetic retardation, and there are many different ways you could try to explain
Oh, all
redshift.
right. Well,
But ironically,
let's
you
get
you wait,
the
time out.
empirical evidence for those.
Dude, chill. You yourself just said, well, there are other theories about contraction. So you yourself just invoked these paradigms that don't adhere to accelerative expansion as the cause of redshift as being definitive. But you kind of are skating away from my point, which is that the accelerative expansion is invoked to explain why it appears the Earth is in the center of the universe. If the Earth is actually in the center of the universe, then you obviously don't need to invoke accelerative expansion to explain why it's an illusion. It's not an illusion. It just actually is in the center. Therefore, you don't need dark energy. So logically speaking, it is objective that the geocentric model is more viable than the heliocentric model.
All
So
right.
that's the
Well,
last thing I want to say.
you completely failed to provide an explanation for just the dark energy for the expansion with empirical evidence, right? So I have not me, it's people that are studying it have the hypothesis of dark energy, and you have a couple words that you threw out there, and I asked for the confirmation of them. You said you don't have them. It seems you just have a hypothesis for them.
Well, do you have the confirmation of the accelerative expansion redshift theory? Because there are redshift anomalies. For example, what's his name? Halton Arp. He wrote two entire books, very revered. In fact, entire constellations or galaxy clusters are named after him because he discovered things that weren't originally there in the catalog. So, a very revered astronomer, and he will openly tell you that redshift's a complete joke. It's been refuted because of all the impossibilities when it comes to things being further in the distance, yet having less redshift and things like that. So
Okay.
now,
All right.
I'm not even.
Well,
I'm not saying that anything he says is true because he is an authority. I'm responding to your claim that you have people that write theories about dark energy, but ironically, you refuse to stake any of those claims of specificity, right? Because you said that, well, it's just a hypothesis and I can't even define it and blah, blah, blah. So it's all good. I just
all
want
right.
the audience to hear the truth.
Austin.
None of the, let me say my closing and then you can say whatever, but I'm going to fall back. I
Monologue.
need to do something. I'm going to say one more thing. So I just want the audience to hear this is the truth. Anyone in this conversation that defends the other side of it, none of them will adequately defend the actual requirements to believe in that position. They always want to stay away from anything outside of the solar system or anything to do with dark matter and dark energy. But the truth is, if we're just being honest, those are, intrinsically tied together. They're joined at the hip. You can't avoid them. And so if we're going to be honest here, the geocentric model is, and always will be superior in viability to the heliocentric model. And so I just encourage people to think for themselves and not just kind of, be intimidated with any type of tactics.
All right. Well, with my very first question for you, to substantiate your claim that the geocentric model is better, you didn't have an answer to it. Instead, you went again, deflected again to somebody else talking about the non-geocentric model, and didn't actually support your claim that the geocentric model is better. You just said it's better, but you didn't provide one answer for anything.
See, and this is what's okay. I gotta say, this is what's so
Oh, I thought
frustrating.
you're done.
Yeah,
I
but this
thought
is
you were
what's so
done.
frustrating because you know that I'm done.
I thought
You're
you're
gonna
done.
say
You're not
something
done.
like this. I just
Of
want
course,
to say
I'm
this
gonna
is what's
I'm
so
gonna point
crazy.
out your hypocrisy. Of
I
course.
want to make a meta point here. This is what's so frustrating. That is your It's like your side's tactic is to just like blatantly misrepresent what happened and say it with such conviction that you think it'll convince people, and people actually fall for it. It's very frustrating, but it's like it's up to them. But actually, I said tired light, electromagnetic retardation. I invoked Halton Arp, who was a revered astronomer and astrophysicist who pointed out the problems with the current redshift theory. I proposed two causal mechanisms for redshift. I also point out that it doesn't even matter, that was a deflection from the fact that you don't have to invoke accelerative expansion that requires dark energy, which means you can invoke many other things. It doesn't matter.
Or you invoked something else with that's just a hypothesis. Cool.
What? No. We don't have to.
It's not, so it's not better.
No, it
You
is better
swap one
because that doesn't.
hypothesis for another hypothesis,
It doesn't require dark energy though,
but it requires tired light, which is a hypothesis.
which is just distance. Do you think that there's distance between us and the stars?
I don't think that tired light is just distance.
Oh, what is it then?
Tired light is a claim. It's a hypothesis. All it is.
No, it's a fact. It's a fact that we can prove that you can have light at a
okay.
greater
I did.
distance, and due to attenuation,
I
that
did.
you can get redshift. Further, you can also
Just
demonstrate redshift in plasma.
Said you proved it. You proved it. Go post it right there. Post it right in the chat.
Okay, no problem. The fact you're disputing that you can get redshift over
You don't
due
need
to attenuation of medium is not my
I just want
problem.
you to prove it. Prove it,
Okay,
you said.
and just so the room
Prove
knows,
it.
I'm going to drop the sources to all three things. Electromagnetic retardation causes redshift. That's been proven in a lab. That distances being proportionate to attenuation of light can cause redshift. And that plasma, light actually moving through plasma, can also cause redshift. All three of those things have been proven and are viable explanations. You don't need dark energy unless you just want to believe in this, like, religious position of Copernicanism.
Was it cut off, or did I just?
No, I was going to say, sounded like 3 wins in a row for Witsit.
Yeah, he cut off, I think. Cut off from destroying.
Probably got a call.
No, I was done.